Hiya, welcome back, welcome to my compound life. Thanks for watching my video. I'm Jonathan. Please drop a like, hit a like, hit subscribe if you can. Thanks for watching. So cleaning up the garden, clearing some of the fallen leaves. I think it's gonna take some time for me to do so. It's a massive garden. I think will definitely take some time. And I thought it would be nice if I can, work on my content a little bit and create a video whilst I'm kind of doing my garden. But anyway, Nvidia's earning is out yesterday. I think it had such a huge impact on Bitcoin and a lot of other growth assets. I think I've spoken about it from the other video. But I think what's important to highlight, okay, so for this video I'm going to talk about Bitcoin again. What's important to highlight is, although we go about in our normal life stacking Bitcoin, you and I and many others, it's also quite important for us to take into consideration of what's going on out there, because a lot of these will actually affect the fluctuation of Bitcoin, and any other crypto assets. So as we can definitely see, Nvidia, all eyes on Nvidia last night. Well, when I was watching the earnings call, it was last night in the UK. So essentially you can see Nvidia being one of the largest, I think they're over $4 trillion market cap asset. Being at that scale, essentially it kind of dictates a lot of growth assets performance too, right? So if you're into Nvidia, very likely you also be investing into Tesla and other growth stocks, and very likely the people that invest in Nvidia, Tesla, very likely they also be investing in Bitcoin. Its technology is blockchain. So I think what I really wanted to highlight in this video is, a lot of time it's not just the macro that are affecting the price of Bitcoin, but at the same time it is also about the performance of other growth assets that are within the same category, because a lot of time Bitcoin people are thinking of it as another growth asset, right? So in that case, it was very positive. Nvidia had a very good, strong performance for this quarter, well, for the past quarter, and I think it's also giving investors a lot of confidence that this is not a bubble, right? The AI temporary is not a bubble, and there's still plenty of gas to move further along, right? And this also gives Bitcoin some confidence too, right? Bitcoin investors more confidence. So I think that's the highlight. But at the same time, it's also factoring in, since a lot of investors that invest in Nvidia, Teslas, Palantir and so forth, it's also indicating if the sentiment is not great, very likely, Bitcoin being such a volatile asset, it will also be affected greatly, right? So in that case, how should we, be approaching it? I think the best way to approach it, it's always to look at the sentiment of what the hell is going on. And for now, I think the sentiment is all-time low right now. It's not that AI or the growth asset side aren't performing, right? For the time being, it's the macroeconomics, the US government shutdown that are affecting liquidity from flowing through, you know, all of this growth asset and at the same time into Bitcoin as well as crypto. So I think for now, let's not be overly bullish, right? Because yes, Nvidia performed really well, right? A lot of influencers out there will be saying that Nvidia are doing so well, it's gonna uplift all other growth assets as well as Bitcoin, but in reality, it's only giving it a slight confidence, right? And it's not gonna immediately help you to achieve, you know, another all-time high for Bitcoin. So let's be cautious in this. It certainly does bring back some confidence into the market, but at the same time, we need to be cautious, right? So that's why ongoingly I always say take profits whenever you have the opportunity. Especially a lot of investors, they still follow through the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, right? A lot of the investors, they're probably investing in Nvidia, Tesla's, Palantir, Bitcoin, right? They're not going to go in and invest on Johnson & Johnson and Coca-Cola, right? So at any point of time, if their bag or if their investment in Nvidia, let's say it's not performing, right, it's going to affect their sentiment, and if they're in a lot of leverage trading, they're going to have to sell off in order to pay for, you know, their leverage trade too, right? So from that sense, you can definitely see some cascading effect that will happen, right? So the best thing to do now, I kind of thought, is I'm long-term bullish for Bitcoin, but for my short-term bag, Bitcoin bag, I am a little bit bearish. And whenever there's opportunity for you to take profit now, or in any of the coming few weeks, I strongly suggest, yes, go in and take profit, because that's essentially what I'll be doing too. And essentially for my other crypto bags, what I'll be doing, I'm gonna de-risk, shift them into Bitcoin or sell them off and stay in cash, right? I think for now, until the next Bitcoin cycle or until end of year, it's essentially take as much profit as you can from the market and be in cash, be in liquid, so that you win for another day, right? So yes, that would be my advice. All right, I need to get back because I've got plenty of leaves to sweep up. So I'll chat to you soon. So spend some time, clear up my garden a little bit, clear out all the leaves. I think you can definitely see some progress from some of the clips earlier. Bit tiring now. Been doing it for about, maybe I've been doing it for about 1 hour or so. So I'm just gonna rest and maybe continue tomorrow. It's like the garden, the site that I like to sit down and relax. Although it's pretty cold right now. It's mid-November. Are we in mid-November? Yeah, towards the end of November actually. towards the end of November. It's pretty cold. I'm sitting outside, drinking my latte, eating chocolate that I brought back from Rome. I think it's a chocolate with chocolate, nice chocolate I brought back from Rome. I'm gonna eat that. It's a chocolate with truffle, so I hope you guys like that too. Have you seen my roses? They are the Queen of Sweden, right? The roses bloom in mid to late November. Somehow they don't bloom at all during the summer, but they start blooming now. Look at a few bulbs. Strange. Let me know in the comment if you guys know whether roses bloom during the winter. So I'm going to talk a little bit about taking profit. Ignore a lot of the influencers now on social media telling you that this is an extended bull cycle. It will be extended onto next year. There'll be global liquidity, that's Bitcoin lags behind. Things like that, right? Definitely reserve some Bitcoin. Don't sell them in the event that if next year Bitcoin have achieved another all-time high, you still can sell. However, it's the right time to de-risk. A lot of influencers out there just, they are all too bullish. Bullish. I think I don't want to be the bearish one. I think from the earlier video I spoke about, we need to be bullish and bearish at the same time. Bullish for our long-term bag, be bearish right now, and plan ahead for our short-term bag that we're trying to cash out. So it's important that you follow this through, right? We are towards the end of the 4 years Bitcoin cycle, whether you like it or not. There are OGs, whales selling right now. You cannot stop them. And very likely, whomever is watching this video right now, you like the same as me. We're not whales. We're not OG. We haven't got into Bitcoin from a very, very early stage. However, we are in the process of creating wealth. And the best thing to do in the event that, we do not know the future, it's still best to base it on what works before, the theory, right? So the 4 year cycle, the 4 years Bitcoin cycle still remain. I think let's continue with that and de-risk, continue to de-risk. Of course, you don't have to sell all, save some in case it goes up next year. So this is an advice for someone who bought Bitcoin at a cheap, right? From the last cycle. Maybe you bought it at the bottom of 16,000. Maybe your average is around 20 to 30,000, right? And you've already at 92,000 now. If you're on 30,000 average, you're already 3x your 3x your return, right? So do you still want to chase after a small uplift in case there might be a relief rally that comes up? It might bring us back up to 100,000, right? What's that? 6, 7, less than 10%, right? Less than 10%. Do you want to further risk your 3x back for that tiny 10%? You do the math, right? So best is to de-risk. For money that you are willing to, for money that you are willing to lose, let it stay in Bitcoin for a longer period of time, right? Maybe by next year it might pop, it might go up. So in that case, you've got both covered, right? However, if you somehow unfortunate enough that got in recently, right, based on some of the hype from media, from news, finance news, you got in Bitcoin. I've got a few friends who's got into Bitcoin at 118,000. They're asking me, what should I do? Bitcoin dropped so much. I think the best thing is not to sell now, right? The fact that you got into investment, there will be bear market, bull market, right? We're just about entering bear market. It's important for you to recognize that, the best thing is not to sell at a loss. Maybe what you might want to do is to continue DCA or a pound cost average throughout the bear market. I think that's the best way to do it. As that would definitely bring down your average. Have some conviction on Bitcoin, because it's a very strong asset. It's a very, very hard asset. As hard as gold, as hard as properties. You're just gonna have to be strong and hodled. Unlike equities market that can be influenced by so many things, right? Of course, for Bitcoin, there would be manipulation involved, whales manipulation, OG manipulations, exchanges, market makers manipulation. There will always be some entity trying to suppress the price, right? The same applies for stocks and shares too, right? However, what I wanted to highlight is stocks and shares, there'll be so much external influence on it that it's not really in any control, right? There could be government influence, laws, many others, right? So I still felt for anyone that are trying to create wealth, the safest bet, for me, I felt the safest if I have only gone in earlier, right? Bought in Bitcoin, more Bitcoin earlier. This is my third cycle. If I've only gone in and bought more Bitcoin in my first cycle, my second cycle, skipping all of the crypto shit coins, I would have made so much more money, right? And even till now, right, I'm kind of retired. Still got side hustles going every now and then. I coach in a university. I should have gone harder into the Bitcoin asset, right? So for any of you that came in late in the party, right, don't get frightened out. hold the asset, pound cost average. The best time to pound cost average might be towards end of next year. So be liquid. Cash is king right now, so take profit. Even consider, I know it's a, we only talk about Bitcoin in my compound life, but if any of you guys are holding really non-performing assets, right, like some of the stocks and shares, some of the FTSE 100 shares, even some of the cryptos, meme coins, what I'm doing, I'm trying to rotate out all of my crypto and meme coins and so forth, right? And I'm stacking up cash and be ready for the next Bitcoin cycle. And the next Bitcoin cycle, the bear market will essentially start towards end of year next year if we still follow the 4 years Bitcoin cycle, right? So that would be the right time to enter, and that's something you need to consider, right? So sell off the least performing asset, stack up cash, and you can make that back, right? You can make that money back from Bitcoin, not from any others, right? You might make some fast bucks through speculative meme coin trading, right? But that's never a guarantee. But for Bitcoin, I've got so much confidence that I think within a matter of 4 years, give yourself 4 years, right? Give yourself one cycle, you can definitely see the return of your money. Okay, so yeah, that's what I want to talk about. Take profits. They're getting a lot more positive news going, Nvidia, etc. I would strongly suggest continue to take profit, rotate out, because I anticipate bear market to be coming next year. So stack up cash. You can never time the top, okay? So start to pound cost average out whatever assets that you've got, pay your taxes, etc., right? Pay off your mortgages, because I'm going to pay off some of my mortgages too, right? Be liquid and be ready to get back into the next cycle for Bitcoin. Okay, so that's it. If you do like my content, hit the like, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.